can I invite some spirit voices in this conversation with us?
Yeah, fantastic.
So there's two entities that I work with quite a bit who work with many other people. One, her name is Grace, and the other one is Maitland, which is a very playful, younger spirit. And Grace likes to talk with me a lot, and Grace has really been pinpointing the year 2025 as being a year of change. And she's talking now in her beautiful British accent. She said this year about change is increasing frequencies in all living beings, all sentient beings, and everything is sentient. She said this might not be in the forethought of, your approach to life, but even inanimate objects hold sentience.
Welcome to the Awakening Entrepreneur podcast. Oh, geez. I am honored and excited to share with you an amazing guest, Jamie Butler. She's a renowned everyday medium. She's a clairvoyant, clairaudient with over 30 years of experiences in helping people, guiding people, empowering others to awaken their healing, their intuition, their joy through her retreats, her online programs. And she's spoken alongside people like Joe Dispenza, Ram Dass, Shaman Durex, Gabby Bernstein. And she's also co-authored or authored with Love and Light, a true story about an uncommon gift that you can find the book online if you want to learn more about her journey and insights into medium and spiritual awakening. So, Jamie, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Gary. Listening to that was so wild to receive. Thank you for the introduction. I just like to see me as Jamie doing the everyday work, and to hear the body of work be put together. It's a little wow. So thank you.
Does it feel like it's been 30 years that you've been doing this?
No, not at all. No.
And would you say this 30 years, because reading that, it sounds like, wow, you've got all this gift and ability. And I'm sure that people that have come across your work is like, wow, she's got this amazing gift. Has it been pretty smooth sailing? Wow, I'm getting my guide to help me, or are they real human, challenges, 3D challenges you also have to learn to navigate yourself as well?
Oh, I can hear it in the tone that you know my answer. And it's yes, there's been challenges along the way. This has not been smooth sailing. I have fought my, whatever you want to call them, gifts, abilities, talents. I like to, call it kind of normal. It's a sensory, just like our traditional five senses. We have that sixth sense, but it's not like this added digit on the side. It's the heightened use of our traditional five. And I have fought that all along the way because it was so far outside of the box. When I was younger, it wasn't seen as favorable. As my grandmother put it, it's really taboo. That's why we didn't want to talk to you about it. We didn't want you to know that the family also had these abilities. So we just tried to make it normal. So bless my family for trying to come forward to give me some kind of security and safety measures by presenting what normal was, which I have no definition for at this time and this year. But it wasn't an easy path. And I could go on and on about this. I'll just say one more thing about it, is in anybody's spiritual path or awakening, any kind of evolution that you're doing that way, it's a very lonely path. And I was raised Baptist, I was raised in a church, and you look at that community where everybody is agreeing that this one path that has been developed is great for me. And there's this likeness, and you can lean on each other. When you're on your spirituality path, it's an individual path. Though you feel connected, and you are connected to all that is, your experiences are very personal. So when you go to lean on someone, they'll say, no, I don't know what that's like. And so it can feel very lonely. And so it's kind of hard to make that transition and still feel like you've got a community and support, which is what I think drove me to inquire, like, how are other people doing this? And how can I talk about this without seeming crazy or, too far outside the box, different? And it turned into the passion of teaching and getting people to use common everyday vocabulary around what their intuitive abilities are. And so that just turned into expanding my career from offering sessions and readings into teaching.
Yeah, I hear you. Especially of late, I there are many moments I see the interconnectedness of everything, not just people, but plants and the moon, the sun, everything, right? And like I feel like just being grateful, being able to experience this. And yet, in the shift of another moment is like the separation and the things that's triggering me, and the fear that like, hey, like I need to survive in this world, and yeah, that's just and it's part of this dance that they're always jumping from one side to the next, and it's at the same time it's beautiful. I remind myself like it may seem like it's a long time, but like blink of an eye, and this experience is over. So cherish it.
Agreed. But don't you think the dualistic, like the feeling connected to everything and then feeling separate, like those extremes, do you feel, I'm asking you a question. Do you feel like we're coming away from that? Do you find yourself more and more like bouncing around in the middle, whether it's with confusion or clarity, but peeling away from the extremes more and more? I'm curious. I'll
Um,
share mine, but I would love to hear from you.
I think I have the recognition, the awareness that we are more connected now more than before. It's early morning for me, like, and this is still fresh in my mind. It's kind of probably not related, but for me, off late, my dreams have been like more like every time I wake up, it's like, like I felt like I just had like a big journey. So that like to me is something more recent that seems like it's a wave that I'm more aware of rather than the separateness. But yeah, like if I was to sum it up, I do recognize more interconnected more frequently. Whereas before, like almost like from a 3D world, it's like it's just about everything is more separate. And I went through this personal development like to maybe put a positive spin to it, but now it's like nah, like the truth is that they are all part of me. Yeah. How about you?
I'm seeing it a lot in other people. So it's like I'm more engaged with this kind of conversation because we are shifting frequencies in our bodies. So we're going to be using them differently, navigating them differently. And for myself personally, I'm noticing that I am not as, I don't really know what word to use, but maybe use triggered. I'm not as triggered or drawn to going to extremes. So that even means the extreme things that we seek that are like favorable or perfect, or how we describe spirituality, like a perfection and blending and unity and all that is. Like I look at that and I go, yes, but I am discovering that the energy inside of me, how it's vibrating, it moves with more fluidity and it doesn't enjoy being as fixed. And so this also means not fixed with a yes and not fixed with a no, which is like a little like, what? Because the way I grew up, it's like, guide yourself to your yes, Jamie. Like the goal is to be happy, or the goal is to do this, the goal, the goal, the goal, which always puts you kind of in future moment trying to strive for it. And I'm not as interested in that anymore. I
Yeah.
want to host experiences in the moment.
Yeah.
And so I'm finding that duality, even in language and attraction and experiences, is kind of coming more into a fluid middle ground. It's
Yeah.
just, it's very intriguing.
Yeah. I resonate with that, and I'll give you a very different example. It's in my awakening journey, one of the biggest teacher is my football team that I follow. and they've been the worst performing team and been at the bottom for the most number of years. So it's so
Oh,
frustrating to watch, being a passionate fan. And so before it's like I get so worked up and I have to practice like how to transcend it, like focus on the breath, Gary, focus on the breath, like when they just lost a point or something. And now it's like I start to look at the players, how much effort they put in, and like I look at the if they got scored against, I look at the pain or frustration or disappointment and feel into that. And yet when they score, like and we get a try or something, that I'll celebrate the moment of joy versus just attaching to the end result. So from that angle, yeah, I do agree, see myself like less attached to the extreme as well of just winning and losing.
yes, this is exactly what I was curious about. That's so interesting. I think
Yeah.
all of us, like a mass consciousness level, is coming up and we're like bursting through or surfacing through, moving away from extremes and coming more into celebrating the present moment that we're in, the experience that we're in, and not so much like you were saying, the outcome or the expectation, the goal driven. It's what's in it. What's the saying? It's not where you're headed, it's the journey,
Yeah.
like that kind of a thing. That's interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for when you said the a lot of the times that when you say something or when I talk to people, I receive more the energy than the actual words and the content. But the one that stuck is like celebrating the present moment. I think all of the listener they understand this, but hearing is one thing, but taking a moment to really like reminding ourselves to celebrate the present moment is another. So thank you for that reminder. Um, I hear in some of the things that you shared before, you say the veil is lifting, and that we're starting to wake up to that. Can you talk a bit more of like what do you mean by the veil is lifting?
I would love to. And can I invite some spirit voices in this conversation with us?
Yeah,
So
fantastic.
there's two entities that I work with quite a bit who work with many other people. One, her name is Grace, or you can call her Gracie. And the other one is Maitland, which is a very playful, younger spirit. And Grace likes to talk with me a lot and kind of our group, which we have termed luminaires. It's people who shine light. And Grace has really been pinpointing the year 2025 as being a year of change. And she's talking now in her beautiful British accent that she said this year about change is increasing frequencies in all living beings, all sentient beings, and everything is sentient. She said this might not be in the forethought of, your approach to life, but even inanimate objects hold sentience. She said maybe that's a conversation for another day. But with 2025 coming, the year of change, there's going to be a lot of moving pieces and destruction. So change first happens with removing what doesn't work. Even if you feel it is working for you and it starts to crumble, it's showing you that there is a better opportunity that's in alignment with your higher frequency self. And so that's like a mass. Okay. She's saying when many people begin to vibrate higher, whether that's with thought or emotion or with action, the connection between, we'll call it human consciousness with insert your word. If it's beyond heaven, all that is, God source, spiritual source. We all have different terms for this, like collection of love and support that is beyond us. She says that becomes closer and closer. There's less of a gap. And she goes, that lessening of a gap is what we call the lifting of the veil, because humans are seeing more and they're experiencing more. And it's not just about higher frequency energies about soul and spirit and changing thought and emotion, she's also talking about it being, I didn't think she'd say this, is also talking about being with other multidimensional beings. So it's about opening eyes to bringing in other races and other beings to collaborate or co-collaborate. I think that's the same thing with what's happening on Earth.
Awesome. Is there something that we need to do? I know that some of the spiritual texts or teachers talks about that the people that are doing the work or that ready to awaken and shift to the 5D and the people that's not, there's nothing that's not right or wrong about which group that like you ascending, you're ready to go to high school as opposed to still staying in primary school. It's not saying the high school people are better, but some people are not awakened. Maybe it's so entrenched in the 3D and a lot of the stories and the dramas, and they still wanting to continue, or
Yeah.
that they're just not ready to wake up from that. Is that something that you see a split is happening, or do you have a different version?
Grace says that was beautifully put on this distinguishing that even though there are differences, there's not a measurement of better or worse. She says that's very important to begin to practice, to love each other's differences for what they are and not trying to measure and analyze them and compare them to understand what they are. She was, that is an old paradigm, and that's going away with the 3D as we move up. She liked that you asked, like, what can we do? Like, to follow more of what our path is, wherever we're going to be, however we want to grow. She loved the freedom of choice. That is very much on point with how she would like to say it too. And she noted that she'll highlight 4 things. And she says, you know, there's so many more, but the deeper you go, the more you can confuse yourself. So if you're at a beginning level, just focus on the simple things. So the first one is knowing how to breathe. Just really focusing on collecting your breath and being connected to breath, whether that is a certain breathing pattern that you have or just elongating your breath. Because breath alone will regulate chemical reactions in the body, mood, as well as heart rate, oxygen levels, and this can be the very pivotal point to change your perspective of where you are. So just with breath alone, you can remove yourself from forward thinking and you can save yourself from past thinking, coming out of the past. So that's one. Second one, she says, is learning how to ground your energy to the core of the earth. So many people, she said, are focused on raising their vibrations and only going up and forgetting the importance of maintaining the groundedness. She says the energy systems in your body, they're all important, not just the higher ones. And so that is unraveling the belief system of higher is better and lower is negative. She was about to remove this. By connecting your energy to the core of the earth, you can imagine it as a catapult, lifting you up higher as you're grounding more. So there's growth in it. Breath work, grounding to the earth. Third one, she says, is kindness. Some might call it compassion, but it is where you are showing kindness to self and prioritizing your own needs, how to care for yourself. So many people are in a routine that they surrender what they need or what they want to do to feel better to the routine so that they may make money to pay a bill, or, you know, they are prioritizing other human tasks. And she says it's very important that you slow down to understand why you are prioritizing these things and give kindness to them. And whenever your mind is being angry with you or thinking negative or unfavorable to yourself, she said, slow down and ask why. How does this serve me? Why am I doing this? And change the dialogue. 4, some people might call it a practice of gratitude. She likes to call it emitting love. And love and kindness are similar, but they're extremely different. And she said, love for me is sitting at the, she's talking so quick. Love for me is sitting at the base of a tree and noticing how the sunlight trickles off the leaves and how the leaves move with the wind to wave hello. And she said, love can be found in anything and everything. And the basis of love is an exchange. It's not just admiration. It's not just a giving. It is also equal practice of receiving. Love, in her terms, is a perfect balance between positive and negative energies, which don't mean good and bad. It just means constant thriving energy and fluid energy, and neutral energy, the one that has no measurement whatsoever. So it's the balance of all three of them. And she says, you have an opportunity to do this every time you take a breath. So those are the 4 things that I would do. No matter where you are or what path you are meant to take, you will end up absolutely in your own perfection. Wow, you will end up absolutely in your own perfection.
Yeah, I love it. So just to remind myself and for the viewers, it's the breath, and the second one is grounding your energy to earth. The third one is kindness, and the last one, the fourth one, is love and gratitude, appreciating the moments, and that will help you arrive at your perfection. Thank
Yeah.
you for that wonderful gift. So now, like scoping out, like what is this journey that we're on? Like, we talk about the veil is being lifted. That's a shift. What like how does Gracie and how do you see like what is this journey? Why are we going on this journey? What are we here to learn?
Grace speaks up and says, we're here to learn to care for the earth. She says, she understands you might be looking for a self lesson, like I'm here to learn the lessons that I picked for myself. And she says, you are, and you did pick lessons, and you picked your family, and you picked this timeline. But you picked this timeline so that you would be the anchor of higher frequency energy to the earth to help the earth transition through this evolution. So her boiled down message is you're choosing to be here in this timeline, in this body, in this location, doing this career right now to help the earth. Wow, that was definitely a boiled down.
And as I know for some of the listener and for myself, the people that's closest to you can often be the one that triggers you the most. And sometimes it gets so intense, it's almost like I want time away from them. And sometimes having that time in isolation or away is good as well. But again, like what you shared, it's essentially is a great reminder that part of our mission is to come here to help our family rather than escaping from them. And the second part is I haven't thought about this in my prayers or appreciation as much, is appreciation for Mother Earth, that is helping her. It's almost like, well, Mother Earth or the sun is like this all powerful thing. You don't need me. I need the tree. The tree or the plant seems more fragile, or the little dog or the people that are starving or whatnot. But yeah, Mother Earth is something that we could collectively help, and in turn they help us as well.
Absolutely. I saw so many visions when you were talking just then. It was like very clear the way that you get your thoughts across. And it reminded me a lot of, well, so many different things, but being able to focus, like, not to sound so cliche, but focus on the present moment, like we were talking about a moment ago. Focusing on the now, as Eckhart Tolle so graciously like presents again and again, And Joe Dispenza, it's the now moment that allows you the fluidity and the freedom. There's possibility in any direction that you go if you stay present. But it was reminding me also of when you're present, you can hear more of the guidance and the voices of the earth, of the trees, of the elements. And Grace was giving me a picture in my head about how parts of earth have just been shut down, not paid attention to anymore, abused, taken for granted. Her soils, her plant life, oxygen levels, just everything that she gives. And part of this shift with people, we're going to notice that shift in earth as well, as she shakes more, as she delivers more weather than ever before, more fires than ever before. And that's not because our media is joyfully, for some reason, focusing on those aspects and, over sensationalizing them. It is because it's actually happening more. So she's settling in and we're settling in for this new frequency of living on earth, which is going to be, Grace is just saying, collectively, it's going to be based on respect between all sentient life forces, which earth and her elements will be included. Yeah.
You
Here, here.
reminded me back in COVID, I had, and I'm sure a lot of people had more time to ourselves, to our thoughts, to slowing down, to being more present, and being with nature as well, appreciating nature more, as many of the other forms of entertainments you can't do. And now that everything is open back up, yeah, like some of the principle you just mentioned is, yeah, taking care of nature. Where for myself, I was looking, growing more stuff in my gardens and spending more time there. And I've lost a bit of that in the human race of wanting to build bigger business and help more people in that way. And just thank you for reminding me to slow down and spend more time back in nature.
She says you are very welcome and that she would love to come speak to you privately, Gary. She said that whenever you have an open door, invite her in. And
Yeah.
she says it goes for any listeners. She's available.
Well, that's interesting. That brings me to a question I want to ask. What is Gracie here to do?
I always call her the spiritual counselor. I know that she has helped people incarnate to earth. She talks about it quite a bit. So when you have questions about lessons, purpose, destiny, things of that nature, she really gets into what your frequency is, what you chose. And she jokes a lot about working with entities coming to earth and trying to lighten their load. And because they add so much to their plate, she's like, where are you going to find the joy of living if you're trying to put all these lessons in the way?
Yeah.
And she's here to remind us that we are not bound by the lessons that we've chose before. We have free will. We can readjust our position however we see fit for the knowledge that we currently have. And she is so interested in opening the door and helping you learn more about yourself. She has taught me so much about myself.
And has Gracie been to Earth School before?
Yes, she has. It was in England. Oh my God, it begins with an M. I can't remember it. How terrible is that? Um, I can see it on a map. It is southeast of London, and it has a beach coast or something to it,
Yeah.
and a letter M. But this is in the 1800s, so it's kind of nice. A lot of what she'll show or speak about has that very like old, I guess, Victorian kind of, presence or feeling. But that was one of her incarnations that she talks about the most.
Yeah. So, as we talk about like ascending from 3D to 5D, we're still living in this 3D where we've got real life issue like money stress, surviving. There's a lot of talk about the inflation and times are tough. What what I guess we've got the four steps of the breath, the grounded energy, the kindness, the love and appreciation, or the gratitude. Is are these struggles? Is that like part of the deal of being in this earthly school, or is that something that we could transcend by raising our consciousness?
Yeah, yes. From me, that is a yes. These struggles that we're being presented with is the destruction of the old structures that are in place that don't work. So to move forward, sometimes we have to break things. Doesn't feel good, doesn't look good, and it can develop a lot of this cyclical negative thinking, putting yourself down, and only focusing on that what's not working. So this is a huge opportunity to lean into focusing on what does work. In the middle of the night, finding the little light and focusing on growing that light bigger. And when we do this action, we develop the muscles of aligning ourselves with what we want as an outcome to come to us. Magnetism, law of attraction, and we can call it so many other different things. And when these changes are in occurrence, we're not going to notice them or be affected by them so much because we've developed the way of growing and seeding out that which is in alignment with our energy, not that which is in conflict of. So we're stepping away from the awareness of survival mode, coming away from survival mode and going into thriving mode. But that doesn't mean that your environment suddenly is bliss and everything is perfectly put together when you're in thriving mode. It can be just as crappy as it was when you were struggling and in survival mode, but it doesn't affect you the same way at all. You look at it and you go, wow, well, that didn't work. Let's do this over here.
Yeah.
Like nothing off your shoulders, no sweat. You could lose all of your money. I know this sounds outrageous, but you could lose all of your money that you thought that you were holding safely and securely. And you're like, all right, well, I don't have that anymore. It's because when we take that leap into thriving and spiritual evolution, whatever we want to call it, when we take that leap into it, we don't define ourselves by the external labels. We don't define ourselves by, expectations or, what's needed from us. We look at the internal health. And as long as internal health, whether you want to see that as emotional health or mental health or spiritual health, when that is on board, I like to think of it, all of it, mind, body, emotion, and soul, all of it together. Whatever is happening around you is not going to affect you the same way when you are off kilter or living towards somebody else's labels or expectations.
So applying that, I want to get your guidance on this. Let's just say if someone is about to lose all their money or they're facing like stage 4 cancer, and so the reality of like not having money to pay for rent or whatever food is so real, and the cancer is like it's impacting the health, like they may be losing weight or they may be feeling more pain. What is it that they could do? Is it focusing on again the four keys, or is there like other practical tips that you can share on how they could navigate this journey?
Yeah, I agree with the 4 things that Grace said when it comes to anybody who is in a dire situation or at the end of their rope. They're at the bottom of the hole, whether they've lost all their money, their health, their well-being, the love of their life, their admired job. I mean, so many things could put them in this situation of fire in their home, and they've lost, all their materialistic items and they have nowhere to go. Giving kindness and love to self, priority, learning groundedness, staying present to the earth, absolutely, and especially keep breathing. There's a lot to be noted about that breath note that Grace gave earlier. It's like when you identify that you're holding your breath or you're breathing shallow, you're not allowing the energy that you're in to move through you. You're kind of grabbing it and holding it and like, what do I do with this? Now I have to manipulate it and make it what I want. Do you have to? Probably not. It's about acknowledging it, accepting it, and allowing it to move through you so that you can keep on your path. But I think with any situation, when somebody's at the end of their rope, it's not a hopeless place. And, you know, I've been doing private sessions for people for over 30 years. And a lot of my clientele shows up with me, and it's like the last hope. I've tried everything, Jamie. I have stage 4. There's nowhere to go from here. I was just calling to make peace with it. That's wonderful. That's the first thing. Give love to it. Anything that's coming your way that you are deeming as a challenge or is taking something from you, love it. By loving it, whether you're calling it negative, unwanted, awful, by loving it, whatever it is, you're not making the awful, the negative, the downfall bigger. By loving it, you're giving it an opportunity to change. So if it's cancer, by loving your cancer, you're not making your cancer stronger. By loving your cancer, you're healing its wound of why it's there to begin with, so that you can unravel its environment. It doesn't live within love. It lives within, I need something and I'm not getting it. And I'm struggling, so I'm growing because now I have to yell louder because you're not giving me what I need, and I have to be bigger and I have to be bigger. And I grow stronger and I take your life because nobody was giving me what I needed. And so if we start approaching some of these situations, or all of them, if I can be so bold to do a sweeping statement to say all, approaching it with love, we start to learn, what is it asking for? Why did it present itself in the first place? What were you so afraid to look at and learn about yourself? You can blame anybody you want. You can blame the cancer. You can blame the fire. You can blame the thief, the robber. You can blame the downfall of the stock market, because it's not your fault. Sure, but you participated and you co-created it. So where's that conversation? Even if you don't like the conversation, have it. You're going to learn more about yourself. And when you learn more about yourself, whether you want to call it a fault or not, I don't believe in faults or mistakes. I think everything is quite beautiful how it presents itself. It took me a long time to get there. I will note that did not grow overnight. It was a long journey, Gary. So, once we get there and we're able to love what it is, we learn about ourselves and we alter what it's doing to us. And that can give you breathing room. And I have been with people, stage 4 cancer, the doctor saying, this is your last week, this is your last month, you have no time left. And they're still alive today. And they're like, it's not a miracle. Our bodies want to be healthy. Our lives desire happiness. We thrive in this. So any opportunity or chance you give your mental body, your emotional body, your physical body is going to take it. It's not going to give up on you. It will never give up on you. That's so incredible. It will always take it. So why aren't, muster up an opportunity is what I'm asking for people. Like, muster up an opportunity to let it do its thing.
Well said, Jamie. What I took from that is, until you said that, like in this shift that we're having, it's something needs to collapse. Some of the things that's no longer serving us, and in our ego mind, we're here to build a castle and then find the love of our life and live happily married after, or have kids, or go on holidays, and that's what the ego wants. But a lot of the journey that I understand, we're here to experience life, we're here to experience love, and if we are in a room full of lights and we're a little candle, what is light? I don't know. You have to experience darkness to truly know the depth of love. And so a lot of the situation you just described, it gives us an opportunity to really understand how vast love is. As a little baby coming into, or even as a toddler, at a younger age, in the lenses we go through, they're full of joy, irrespective of some of the difficulties that we may have, like whether it's living on the streets. Yes, they will be cold. Yes, they'll be hungry, but they are like full of, like, in the present moment of joy. And when we lose a lot of the attachments that I need to be this, and we're hanging on to it so tight that we're not letting it go, when we let go, and still realize that it's okay, and I can still live possibly even a more free life and more beautiful life. So thank you for that beautiful reminder. That leads me to wanting to ask you that I know that you've got you talk about people that are stage 4 cancer and people that you've worked with along the years, that you've also got a 21 days of healing that you've been doing quite some time, and that's some like really powerful healing journey that some of the participants have experienced. Could you share some of your experience with that? And first of all, maybe give people a frame. What does the 21 days of healing, what does that entail?
Yes. So I teach Reiki. I learned it a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, is it? Anyways, it has been. And when you are embodying Reiki, I learned this style of energy healing in the traditional sense. There's also a modern way of teaching it. And in the traditional sense, once you kind of understand some of the energetic concepts, you practice it for 21 days. And then you move on to the second level and you practice that for 21 days. And then you move on to they call it the mastership level, and you intern with that for several years. That's the traditional way. So I did that through the 90s. And when I did my mastership, I focused on one person for 21 days remotely, not even talking to them, but they knew. And we took notes. And then when we gathered after 21 days and looked at the notes, it was kind of that moment where you're like, is this real? Like, how can this happen when I know that I didn't talk to you and you didn't talk to me, and I didn't know that you had these issues, and we can match what was happening? So that got me on to really diving into energy healing. And Reiki energy healing is pretty much, it's a quantum healing. You know, it transcends time and space and all kinds of boxes that we like to use. So lately, I had someone ask me, you know, are you ever going to get back into your healing? Because I dove more into teaching the awareness about this energy and so forth, and not so much in the practice of it. So I developed collecting a 21-day series of 21 people, and they fill out a form. So I have their words of healing, and I carry the pages everywhere with me. In fact, they're in the other room. I keep them with me wherever I go for 21 days. And I do a guided healing and meditation with guides, angels, multidimensionals, myself, Monday through Friday in the morning. And so I get to see my people and talk. And of course, they've listed mental, emotional, physical things that they want to shift and change. My people, that sounded really weird. The participants. And I've had some who have had locked shoulder, frozen shoulder syndrome. And after the 21 days, well, actually it was on like day 14, 11 or 14. That's usually where the magic starts to solid happen. And she had no more pain and she could move her shoulder. And when she went to the doctor was like, so what are you doing? She told him. He was like, I don't know what that is, but keep it up. So there was that encouragement. I've had people who have insomnia that can't sleep through the night completely fall asleep and sleep for 8 hours straight without waking up. Bladder's healing, working with skin cancer, breast cancer right now. So I'll let you know how that goes in 21 days. But I had a wonderful opportunity of working with somebody at the beginning of my practice that had breast cancer. And thankfully, she was a beautiful, stubborn woman. And with her doctor, she kind of just pinned him to the wall and was like, I need imagery of my tumors, you know, so I can see it progress, because she didn't want to have a mastectomy and lose her breasts. He was going to take both because it was a really aggressive breast cancer. And so the treatment was Reiki. And she would come in like every 2 weeks and she would put her image of the tumor up on the window and you could see the x-ray, and she would roll a coin over it. And we started with, the tumor was larger than a quarter. We got it to the size of a nickel, and we got it to the size of a dime.
Wow.
And that was her goal, was a dime. I was like, we could get rid of it. And she was like, the dime is what it is. I'm going to go and have it removed now, but I get to keep my breasts. But that was the first time in my healing practice that I had a client who was so adamant in showing me the imagery because she needed to see it and watch it shrink. I've also, I don't know, it's energy healing is real, everyone. If you haven't come across it in your life, please take the time, talk to somebody who's experienced it, word of mouth, find someone you're comfortable with that you can talk to about all of your experiences. If you feel like you have to close your mouth around anyone, that's not your person. I want you to be comfortable enough to blah, 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 and that they hold the space for it. Because I was going to say miraculous things. It is miraculous things. I've seen broken bones set in place to where they went to the hospital and they were like, how long has it been since that bone was broken? And they're like, just a moment ago. And they're like, no, it's already healed. Now we have to re-break it and set it because it wasn't set. And I was like, what? Because I had been doing Reiki all the way to the hospital, and I realized I will never do that again until I know the bone is set in place. And then I will do energy work. That poor person had to get it broke twice in one day. Oh, it was awful.
Yeah.
We learn.
I remember my experience of having my bones fractured, and the going to the hospital. They put me in the cast, and then
Yeah.
within the first day, I took the cast off. Well, actually, as soon as I got home, I took the cast off because I didn't want to see myself as broken. And then 2 weeks later, when I went back to the doctor, they go, "Where's the cast?" And like I could hear them talking behind the scene, and said like that he shouldn't have taken it off. Like, and make sure you in a stern voice, make sure you teach him like not to take it off again. And they're like, I'm talking to there was a healer I was working with, and like, is it possible for the fractures to heal within this time frame? And he said, well, anything is possible. I'm trying to get some validation. Oh
Oh my
man,
God.
like, what am I gonna do? Because I know that like when they put it back on, I want to take it off again. And but he didn't give me a definitive yes, it will be healed by this time. Anyway, when the doctor came back, like she said, well, like we're gonna put it back on, and make sure that you don't take it off again. And there was a little like guidance. Suddenly the thought came to me, can you put me in those like moon boots instead? Is that well, we can, but you probably you're gonna take it off. But you can, right? And they said, yeah, like so they put me on the moon boot instead of the cast because it was my fractured ankle. And obviously I took it off when I got home. But yeah, that it's good to hear these stories because if people have going to the doctor, like because the doctor is going to give them a hard time that you shouldn't be doing this. Yeah.
Right. No. A lot of them don't understand the, the Healy's choices because they have the routine and rote way of doing it. And it feeds into another whole system. But I hope, like, I want to hear the end of the story. Like, how did your ankles heal? Is everything good? What
Yeah, I
happened?
was able to walk a lot faster,
Yeah.
but than the normal timeline. Like I put the feet on grass, on sand, like just to earth it to like feel the energy, and so and possibly like a combination of things, a power of like belief that it's going to heal faster, and so yeah, I'm glad that because for a long time when I was learning some of these self-healing modalities, I've got perfect health, and part of me is like wishing that hey, I wish that I've got something serious to test, and so be careful what you wish for. Um, but the other thing
Absolutely.
yeah, the other thing I also learned from a lot of the channelers and healers that I come across of, especially of late, a lot of them start off with Reiki as well. And somehow like, from Reiki, they stop just focusing on Reiki, but it morphed into a whole heap of other gifts. Yeah.
I agree. I call Reiki, it's like the Band-Aid in your first aid kit. It's real basic,
Yeah.
very clean, very simple, non-religious. It's nice. Start with the Reiki, and then I encourage, keep learning. If you like this, there's other kinds of modalities. Go grab them. Go cherry
Yeah.
pick and enjoy it.
And a lot of the times from the stories I hear, while they're practicing Reiki on someone or over time, some suddenly like some other gift just get activated and they go,
Yes.
wow, like, what is this? And then like you said, they then go to learn to fine tune that modality.
Yeah, it can increase your psychic awareness, all of your clairs. You can hear voices, all of this starts to happen. A lot of my students who've gone through, well, just even level two, up to level two, they'll come back and say, I hear voices now. When I do my Reiki healing on people, I get messages from their guides. And I'm like, okay, so let's talk about how you want to deliver those messages so that they know it's from them, not you. Okay. Like, oh, it's good to have a support group like that to know that what's happening to you is not scary. It's exciting.
Do you know, Jamie, the exact question I wanted to ask you next is when would someone know when they're contacted by their guides? And then you drop that. So yeah, obviously you're hearing from your guides and you teach people this as well. How do people like know? Like how what's step one is probably a learning Reiki, and I assume that you've got a school and that you teach that. What's yeah, tell me.
I don't know. Like step one could be different for everyone
Mm.
because if we have people who are clairsentient, you're feelers, you're more of a kinetic person. Absolutely, grab some Reiki because that's very hands-on. You'll really get into that. But some people are daydreamers. They're thinkers. And for that, it's like I teach a class called Perceiving and Reading Energy. I would say go for that because that's going to activate that clairvoyance and claircognizance that you're naturally using. So it's kind of different for everyone. But there's one thing that I like to say when you're saying, like, how do you know when your spirit guides are connecting with you? I want to kind of throw it back at you. Why is it important to know? Like, if you're getting information, whether it's an aha moment, a download, a channeled moment delivered by spirit or by tree, sprite, animal, God, source, whatever your words are, wherever it's coming from, if you got a message that resonated with you and you've decided like, oh, that's a game changer. I heard that and I am now shifting my life towards that. Does it really matter where it came from? Like that's going to be on you, like you and the listener. But some people are like, yes, it matters. I need to know. But it's not going to change what you got to begin with. And it might feel like an aha moment. It might feel like a bright idea that you did it all yourself. It might feel like a coincidence. You might be very confused. Like it can show up in all kinds of ways. Like you get the same image again and again and again, or you get on your computer and you get the same freaking commercial no matter where you go. It keeps popping up and you're like, that's AI, that's marketing, that's whatever, but it's still there. And it's like, all right, I need to look at that.
Yeah.
So doesn't matter where it really comes from. You're the captain of your own ship, your own life. You're making your choices. So if it resonates with you, keep it. And if it doesn't resonate with you, I wouldn't throw it away. I'd put it in your back pocket. I'd put it to the side. Come back to it later. In 5 years, it might make so much sense, but it might take a while. But there you have it. And you go, oh my God, I experienced that 5 years ago. That's going to change the way you're getting the next hit, feeling, knowing, weird thing. And you're like, oh, I don't get it, but it might be important. So I won't throw it away and ignore it, but I'll set it there. So it's a growing process. That's what I like. And the way that I like to teach is I try to get my students really involved and ask questions and really find that vocabulary for themselves so we can talk about it more.
Yeah.
And then once I feel like we have the vocabulary about what your downloaded messages or your aha or your sense, your feeling, because a lot of times you can't put it to words, it makes it so much more real that it starts showing up more and more and more and more. It makes your ability stronger if you can verbalize it more.
Yeah.
So that might be a little thing you can look at too.
That's beautiful. Jamie, before the show started, we talked about our love for one of the podcast telepathy tapes. And I
Yes.
know that you've also got a show, a school that, or a class that teaches people telepathy as well. I know that through talking to people that I know that there are certain remote tribes of people that are still living in isolation that they like are using telepathy like all the time. So can you tell us more about in your view what like how like did we have this gift and we lost it and is it something that we should try to activate or is it like if it comes like what's your view on it?
I beg of you, please, to activate your telepathy skills. I do believe that we all have it. It's the same with your intuitive self. We all have these abilities. We've just been talked out of them or we forgot how to use them. It's a learning curve. That's it. And the hardest thing about it is yourself and your own judgmental ways about what you are doing inside. So it's a quick path of mental health and emotional health to get to telepathy. And telepathy is this unspoken language, and it really is going to resonate with how do you feel? What are you picking up on? How do you read a signal in a room? Because if you've ever walked into a room and you felt like completely, I don't even know what the word is, discomfort, like shunned away and like, I can't be here. But it looks absolutely beautiful room, beautifully put together. And you walk in and you're like, I can't do this. You have to go home. And you leave. And then you find out later, maybe there was a fight that broke out that night. Something bad happened. But you were there, but your body picked up that the frequency and the energy in there wasn't right. And so you had this alternative way of receiving that message or that language. I'm specifically using this as an example of telepathy because many people think telepathy is person to person, but everything has sentience, everything has consciousness, even a room. And time is not linear, it's all together. So what happened in the future is already happened in the space, and you can read that and you can use that as a compass to guide your way. And you can share information privately, one-on-one with telepathy. You can send signals and messages, but it just doesn't come across in words like what we're doing right now. And so it's a little bit of unlearning how to communicate to then learn how to communicate energetically. So I've designed this course and it ends up as a retreat. We spend 21 days with each other, every day with a lesson. And then at the end of that, we meet in Taos, New Mexico for 5 days so that we can physically be in front of the group that we've already been working with for 21 days to then practice the skills that we've learned, which is wonderful. We're going to be on an eco farm kind of out in nowhere. So we're not going to be really battling with a lot of information in the air. And so it'll be a bit like a vacation practice.
Yeah. Do you get them to try to like read cards and see whether they get it correct or like are there certain exercise that you get them to do?
Sure. Yeah, little games like that, especially that you can do at your home with yourself as well.
Yeah, I remember like a few years ago when I started homeschooling them, and later on I wanted to like almost like cosmic schooling, and yeah,
Cosmics.
delivering the ability to read cards and then like one of the one that worked was actually getting them blindfolded and they can see they would start playing the iPad with like completely blindfolded, so that one worked. We never got in terms of like guessing cards to a degree of accuracy that is statistical significance that wow like it but it definitely I think it's a good practice. Like we practice it even sometimes that like when we're driving along, let's just try to like pick two numbers like 52 or something like and see who can manifest that number coming up first. Yeah, and so we're driving, we're
Cool.
looking out, and whether it's number plates or maybe it's a number on a house or maybe like a highway. Yeah, it's so cool that you've got a school that actually teaches. Because I was looking for school to join or to learn these, and there wasn't a lot of options out there.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of options, but it's out there. And there's some good published books and videos, and definitely go listen to the Telepathy Tapes podcast.
Yeah.
After you're done with this lovely podcast and binging all of Gary's podcasts, then go to the telepathy tapes.
Cool. So I got a couple more questions. Just as I know that I'm conscious of your time, Jamie, and thank you for both yourself and Gracie for joining us. Um, so, are there anything urgent that I guess Gracie wants to share, like to the listener, that something that we should act on, or something that helps them to remember, whatever message that she wants to share, that will be appropriate.
Well, I have two. And so Grace is talking about staying curious, that whenever you find yourself in a fixed place, like you've made up your mind and it's this and it's only this and nothing else, to get curious about why you're doing that. Because there's nothing truly fixed in the world. Everything is fluid. The only thing constant is change. Change is the only thing constant. And then my other little friend here, my guide, Maitland, she's busting at the seams and she's talking about laughter. Add laughter to your life like it's medicine. She says, people like to count how much water are they drinking to stay hydrated. She goes, I want them to count how much laughter did they have in the day to sustain their health. Like, it's time to get out there and get silly.
Yeah.
Be respectful to others. You know, it's not like a mean thing, but it's definitely about laughing.
What about you, Jamie? If there's one message you want to leave with our audience, what would that be?
Well, I like my saying, it's not woo-woo, it's true. So many students and people that I talk to about their experiences want to dismiss it because they can't connect to it and understand it. We have these, we call them aha moments, you know, where you get this information or you have an experience. You're like, oh, I'm going to remember this forever. This is the most spectacular thing. It's changed my life. But then like 3 days later, you're having a really hard time even connecting to what it is. And it feels so far away and elusive, and it just kind of rips away like wet paper, and you're back to being yourself. And so it's hard for the mind to take what's so far vibrationally outside of where you resonate and incorporate it into your foundation. But it begins with acknowledging that it's not crazy. You're not woo-woo. You're not weird. You're not broken. You're definitely not broken. And you're definitely not alone. It may feel that way, but you're not alone. Look up, you know, whether it's to the skies or look up here, you know, into community. There are a lot of us hanging out going, wow, whoa, you know, and then acknowledgement that it's true. That experience happened to you, whether it was in a daydream, a nighttime dream, whether you were consciously awake, whether you were with a group of people or all on your own. That happened to you and it was real, and it changed the way that you see the world around you. And I want you to acknowledge it. It's not woo-woo, it's true. And that will help you kind of incorporate and hold on to it. Journal your experiences. I'm personally not a fan of pen to paper, but dang it, has it helped me so much. Because you know, you get distance from your experiences and you forget them out of sight, out of mind. But when you have them in a journal and you go back and you read it, it's like, I remember who I am. This is who I am. I got it. Keep going back to it.
Well, thank you, Jamie. I know that you've got a lot of different programs, very affordable, that can help people navigate their journeys as well. If people want to learn more about whether it's healing, whether it's create the dream life, or whether it's learning telepathy, like where can they go? What is the best source to learn more about all of the goodness that you have to offer, or maybe just some more of the free content that you've got available as well?
Oh, gosh, yes. JamieButlerMedium.com. Go to the website, the main page. It just kind of has everything laid out, what's coming up. Over on YouTube, Jamie Butler Medium, I have a lot of free videos, meditations, healings, talks, classes, lessons. And then if you want to join some of those, you can find them on the website, JamieButlerMedium.com.
Thank you, Jamie. And for all of you, go and look up Jamie. We're going to have the links in the show notes. If you haven't liked or subscribed to our podcast, feel free to click on the like and subscribe button, and comment on the show. Ask any questions you want, and we're going to respond to it. Thank you so much, Jamie.
You're welcome. And Gary, I really think you need to bring back the Wizard of Oz.
Sending you lots of love.
Same to you. Thank you so much for this.